Hello and welcome to the Undressing the Spirit podcast, where sex and spirit go hand in hand. Join me, Tamara Powell, on a no-holds-barred adventure into the psyche and beyond every conceivable limit. Welcome back to Undressing the Spirit. My guest today I am super excited about. It's Samantha Parker, and she is the editor-in-chief and head badass of Badassery magazine. Plus, she's the social media genius behind Hype Social Strategies, where she uses her no-bullshit attitude and ninja skills to help bosses maximize their visibility. Samantha believes that a nurturing and supportive community is the basis for all successful businesses. I so agree, which is why Badassery magazine isn't just a publication, it's a community and a lifestyle. Welcome, Sam.
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited today.
I am too. And your bio didn't say this, but you actually have a podcast out now as well, don't you?
Yes, we also have the Badassery podcast. It's newly launched. We're just a few weeks in, so.
I'm super stoked. I've listened to your first 2 episodes and I love them. So I will definitely list that in the show notes as well for everyone because they're going to totally want to check that out.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, other than your intro that I just gave, can you tell listeners how you became Miss Head Badass?
Well, I basically declared myself head badass. You know, no one hands you a golden throne and they're like, here you go. You are now a badass. I was like, that's quite the intro. I like it. So I guess my journey started from the womb, basically. I'm like, where are we starting from?
Right on out. Yes.
Right on out. Born with red hair and now I dye it red, but that's okay.
I do the same thing with blonde. It's fine.
Yeah. I'm like, whatever. We get to choose.
Yeah.
So I guess my journey really started a few years ago. I think it was like 2014 or 2015. I had a job that I just was super, super miserable in. And it wasn't, the place or anything. It was just kind of the circumstances I wanted. I think my heart and my soul were kind of being tugged in a different direction. So I literally just kind of went in and quit one day and everyone was like, well, what are you going to do? Like I gave her, my boss a 6 weeks notice, which I think is pretty awesome. But
that
everyone's like,
awesome.
Yeah, everyone's like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I don't know. So wow. I wish that I had like some big moment where I was like, this is what I'm going to do with my life. But ever since that moment and I quit, I've just been saying yes to a lot of things. And anytime I have an idea, I just go ahead and I implement it. And that's kind of where all of this was born. I don't sit on things. I don't stew about them. I get the idea in my bathroom and then we make it happen.
I love that. And I already have like 50,000 questions for you. And this is exactly why I wanted to interview you because so many women that I work with have, as you still understand, a whole lot of fears that come up before we make decisions and before we try and move towards what's authentic in life. But before I get into that, what the hell were you doing before you became Miss Badassery?
I worked in healthcare for a long time. And then my family had owned a floral business. And so I kind of grew up in the floral industry and we had just relocated to the other side of the state and I needed a job. So I actually went to work for a florist.
What? I can't even picture this now. So you were like making floral arrangements?
Yeah, I'm very crafty and I can rock some flowers, but it's not really a side of me that I enjoy, which sounds crazy. I had my grandpa tell me once, he's like, God gave you a gift and you're not using it. And I'm like, but I don't enjoy that kind of stuff. I really want to do something else with my life. So I worked in the floral industry and it's not as much fun as everyone thinks it is. Flowers are great. And the best part is, you get to make people's days, but you also, you deal with deaths, you deal with weddings, you deal with 16-year-old kids who think that prom is like God and you work really late hours. Yeah. You work till 2 a.m. on Friday and then you come back early the next, Saturday morning and set up a wedding. So it was harder than working in the hospital for me.
Yeah, ew, that's so gross. And you're right. I probably never would have thought about that. It's good to have an insider to go, yeah, no, all that glitters really isn't gold sometimes. And so unless that's like your total passion in life, that wouldn't be fun for sure.
Yeah, no, it was still, it wasn't like torture or anything like that. But I just kept being pulled somewhere else and I didn't know what it was. And I'd gotten to the point where I first said this out loud just a few months ago, but I really was kind of borderline suicidal. I hated my life. I hated it. And it had nothing to do with anyone around me or anything. Like, I just hated it. And I think it was because I wasn't doing what I wanted to do in life.
Right. And that's what I am so passionate about as a counselor, as a coach. And that's what Undressing the Spirit's all about, is like finding meaning and purpose and authenticity and empowerment. And sometimes we make the leap before we know what's going to be on the other side.
Exactly. I was just finishing up my bachelor's degree too. And so I was like, I have a degree. It doesn't matter. I'm leaving.
What was your degree in?
I have a degree in communications, or I focused in technology.
What's what you're doing now? Perfect.
Exactly.
So this is what I am dying to hear from you. How did you get to the point? I know you sounded like you were really depressed, but how did you know when enough was enough and you were able to make that leap and face those fears in a way that so many women around us, even in the ones in some of the groups that we're both in, aren't able to? And by able, I mean, they're just not ready yet to do that. How did you do that?
I think it helps to have like support around you as well. I am married, but I do provide a lot of our income, so it was scary, but it wasn't like I was just going cold turkey and I didn't know how I would feed my kids next week,
Right.
But my husband was totally supportive because I was miserable. And, now too, like you can see those people around you that are miserable where they're at in their life, and you really want to reach out and help them and be like, it's okay, you can do this. But you just have to get to the point where you're like, I don't know if it's like divine inspiration or like, the universe like kicks you in the ass and they're like, here you go, but you're done. Because if I would have continued down that path, I don't know if I would still be here today.
Yeah, probably not, or at least not in the beautiful, vibrant Samantha way that we know now. That's for damn sure.
I am not the same person.
No, I came to that moment after grad school, and I had been trying to get hired with, the local agencies, like do like the traditional path. And the hiring process was just taking way too long. And I had kids already, and I was needing to put food on the table. And so I just started seeing clients like right at the gate, subleasing from other people's offices, and just like facing that fear. People are like, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, failure is not an option. Like, I always wanted to do this, so I'm just going to go for it and try. And I tell you what, by the time the agencies came back around, I sat there with an offer for about 24 hours. And I was so scared of making the quote unquote wrong decision, because now I'm finally being offered the job security, right, that you don't get as an entrepreneur, but the freedom and just the amazingness of being able to do therapy the way that I wanted to won out. And so what I often tell my clients is like, once where you're currently at is more stagnant, like where you were, like you're just so damn uncomfortable. And that just feels, once you know that that's worse than the possibility of trying for more, you'll make the leap.
Yes, I agree. If you're having to sit in your car and be like, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this.
Get in there, make those flowers arrangements.
Yeah. So if you're at that point in your life, no matter what job it is, every job, everyone has a different calling in life. But if you're at that point, you need to start looking around. But you probably don't have to do anything super drastic like I did. You can like start a little side hustle, as I call it. Just kind of like start working towards your dreams until you can securely move into them.
Right. But at the same time, I love that you just went for it. Yes. No holds barred. Don't look back. I mean, you figure it out on the way down. That's what's amazing to me.
Yes, I cry a lot in my closet. It's still a really bumpy ride, but I think it's still really awesome. Like, I just like sometimes like I sit in my office and I look out the window and I'm like, oh my God, this is so amazing, So yes. There's highs and there's lows of it, but the cool thing is I literally get to create what I do. So and it's really awesome too when you get to a point as an entrepreneur when like something just kind of yucky comes your way and like you get to that point where you're like, no, you get to kind of
decide.
Yes. You're not forced all the time to do things that you don't want to do. I mean, I do things not all my clients are, butterflies and roses, but I do things to kind of get me to that point. So it's just really cool though, because I have the choice what I do.
Yes. And that I have found just takes from putting the time and the effort in, because at the beginning, I did the same thing. I kind of, looking back now, I tell newer clinicians, I felt like the psychological whore, like the chick that stands out on the corner and was like, I'll take anybody for $20. I will help your mental health. What can you pay me?
You have to do that at first, you know?
Yeah, I think you kind of do. There's no shame in that game. At least now looking back, I realize that I'm more passionate about what I don't want to do, you know? Like
Exactly.
you said, so when those offers come at you, and that's, I found a huge entrepreneur secret. Like you got to know where your values are and your priorities. So that way, when the offers do start to come in, you can weed them out. Like, nope, this isn't consistent. Because some of them even seem like really, really good ideas, or even other really, really good collaborations or mentors to work with. But if there's something off about that, you will regret it.
Every time. And I've learned the hard way too. So now I feel like I am like the master at the red flags. I'm like, I see you coming. You're not coming. We're not going to do that, you know, but I learned the hard way too.
I was just going to say, was that through the School of Hard Knocks?
Yes, absolutely. And that's the only way to do it.
I think you're right. My clients shit on that sometimes. Like when they're afraid to have it, you know, to get into a new relationship, perhaps. It's not always just about business because, ooh, I was burnt before. And I'm like, but see, now you can't unlearn what you learned. So now your radar is going to be even better at weeding them out.
Oh, I credit I did get married when I was like 19 and it went really south really fast, really bad. You know, it was like a year relationship that took me 10 years to get over. But I absolutely, now looking back, every experience basically sucked. It was a total hellhole. But it made me so strong, you know, so strong. And now I have like the best relationship ever. I have 2 great kids and everything is great. But I would have never got to this great point if I hadn't like trudged through that crappy point. So just because like a deal goes south or a relationship goes south, like why would you give it up? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I just think people get so scared of hurting again. And I just tell them but then you're locking yourself in a self-imposed prison. And even as I say that, I'm like, Tams, you're gonna have to take your own medicine, because I was burnt by a coach recently. And I'm the type that believes you always have to have a coach or a mentor, you know, to keep you moving forward. So I'm wading back into those waters, but I am doing so with trepidation, but I'm going to take my own medicine. I promise, guys.
Yeah. You just have to get right back up. Try it again. What is that stupid saying? You got to get back on the horse or back in the saddle.
Get back.
It's like the worst advice. It's like bumper sticker advice. I'm like, just hang in there. You'll make it through.
Sometimes stereotypes and these colloquialisms are there for a reason, though. I'm not above pulling from them in session when need be. Samantha, you said something that I want to go back to and highlight, and it was that even though you were actually quite good at doing floral arrangements, it wasn't something that you were passionate about. And I find this to be so key for so many people that are like, what should I do in life? What is my passion? And recognizing that, as I put it, everyone has their favorite puzzle. So for me, mating behaviors and spirituality is like my jam, but I'm good at other things. I just don't necessarily think that that's where we should get stuck. And how did you make that transition? Like, how did you decide, oh, just because I can make money at this, it doesn't need to be the thing?
Oh, that is so hard. I was just thinking while you're asking me that question, I'm like, there's so many things in my life that like I'm good at. And I don't mean to sound like egotistical or cocky, but like, it's kind of true.
Own it.
So,
just own it.
Yeah. I'm just going to own it. Like if I decide I'm going to do something, I'm like, I'm damn good at it, you know, but just because you're good at something, like, it's the same thing. Like, of course I can figure out how to set up the TV. It's that I don't want to, you know, and
yes.
Of course my friends used to call me Martha fucking Stewart, kind of mocking me but they were jealous. I knew it. Because like, I love, you know, I can cook a great meal. I can, you know, keep my house crafty. I can do cool shit with my kids. But just because I'm good at that doesn't mean that I have to do that all the time. I mean, just because I could be a good housewife doesn't mean I have, you know, I'm not going to be. So, but it took a long time, and especially from working at home, to transition and realize that it's okay not to be good at everything. You know, you do that thing too where you're like, well, I'm home all day. I should have the house clean and I should have dinner on the table. I think it's just like a stereotype that unfortunately like needs to be burned out of our DNA. But so I would get,
love it, give it up.
Yeah. So I would get hung up on all these things that I could be really good at. And then I kind of just had to do this thing where I literally was like, fuck it, I don't care. So that went a little south too, where it was like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm not going to do anything like crafty again, or I'm not going to, put up any decorations in my house. I'm not going to do laundry for a month, and I don't care if my kids eat crackers all day. So I went like both extremes, and then I kind of had to come back to a place where it's like, okay, I like having a nice house. I like doing crafts. It's okay. I bought some flowers at the store the other day. I did my sister-in-law's wedding, and it's okay to have like a balance. But just because I'm good at that doesn't mean I need to like drop everything I'm doing in life and only focus on that.
Yes, you can't see me right now, but I am bowing. Like, this is so good.
Like, namaste.
Yes, this is a point that everyone mark your fucking calendars, write that down. Samantha Parker said, just because you're good at it does not mean you have to. This is huge. I tell people this applies to everything. This is why this is so big. It applies to everything. Whether you are a mom, you don't have to be the Pinterest type mom, unless you are the Pinterest type mom, in which case, toot your horn because you're the Pinterest type mom.
And I'm like, and don't hate on people because they are the Pinterest mom. It's like that's their calling, like, and they love it. Go for it. But if you're striving to be something, you'll just end up miserable. Like if you're just trying to like balance everything out and do everything that everyone else wants you to do, you'll end up like in a total shithole and life will suck. And that's like, that is the worst sentence I've probably ever said, but
no, grammatically, we're gonna coin it.
But
it's going on a Canva later. Sorry.
Yeah. I write better than I speak.
Own it.
Yeah.
No, I was at a PTA meeting not too long ago. Well, actually, it wasn't a PTA meeting. It was a mandatory school meeting because I am not that mom. And they were requiring that everyone do some sort of volunteer work. And I had no shame in looking at the table and being like, I will buy you drinks if you do it for me. Like, that is, I will hand you the check. I will get you a massage, Starbucks card. What do you want? Because you do not want me watching your munchkins. That's not my role in life. I promise you.
Well, I just ran into this just this morning. My son goes to a Montessori, and they, I guess, have had lots of parents requesting to volunteer. And I was like, who the hell are these people? So now they want everyone to like pick a time slot to volunteer. And I was like, just so you know. And the lady was like, no, don't. I know, you're fine. You go home, Sam. And I'm like, I'll bring the apple juice. And she's like, yes, thank you.
Exactly.
She knows that like that's just, I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm not, what is this nonsense? And she's like, no. So it's great to understand that that's who you are, and also just own it like that. I was like, what the hell are these sign-up sheets for volunteer spots? You want me to come here while he's here? I'm like, what?
No. But hey, if you want me to take your kids to do research for the history fair, like I rock that shit. Like we'll like swap.
I'm like, let's go play golf.
Beautiful. But I think that applies to everything. Like figure out what you're curious about, what you enjoy, and what lights you up. I tend to think us in the Western culture tends to make it so overly complicated when we're trying to figure out our meaning and purpose in life. I just do.
Yes, and it's also because I think a lot of people are afraid of that other people are watching them in a sense. Mm-hmm. I could have stood there and pretended like I cared about the sign-in sheet and I wasn't really freaking out inside my head, or, I just spoke up and I was like, what is this crap? But, I think if we just find your passion, find what makes you really excited, what's really happy in life, and then don't care what other people think about it. Stop looking at other people, keep your head in your own lane, as I think you said earlier, and just like do the work, put it out there, and don't give two shits if someone else doesn't like it. We have Badassery magazine and I love it. Like it is my burning passion, but there's only probably like 5 family members that I can actually talk to them about what it is. My grandma wanted to see it the other day and I was like, I just don't think it's a good idea. I'll flip through the photos on my phone for you, so that you can see it. But I don't think you should sit down and read it because she's a devout Mormon woman. So yes. So, it's just kind of that thing. Like, don't even worry about what your family thinks. It's like, who cares? You're on your own path. And I think we're really getting into an era of We're building our untraditional businesses and we're not following in those traditional paths. And that is so freaking awesome. And we all just need to own it and run with it.
Yes, it is so awesome and it is so scary. I love that you brought that up too, because that still hits home even for me. I mean, I'm sure that this last Sunday I walked back into the doors of organized religion for the first time in like 4 years because my youngest wanted to get baptized with her cousins. And what are you going to say to that? I'm really big on gifting my children with their own path as well and letting them figure it out. And I swear through the whole thing, my mom was praying for my salvation. Like,
she will be saved.
She will be resaved. My child will come back to the path, not understanding that I haven't so much walked away from her path as just like the organized religion part. And so when it comes to my business and all of the crazy things that I talk about, I've heard my mom and plenty of other people be like, Tamara, she's a counselor. Yep. She does, like, they just don't even know what to say about it. And at first it did hurt my feelings. And it would make me self-conscious. And I realized that every time that happened, I would limit my energy and grow small again. And when I do that, then the clients who need me can't see me. And if you and Debbie and Kathy weren't out there rocking badassery, all of the people that are just waiting for hype social strategies and all of the other awesomeness would be missing out.
Yes, that's exactly it. And every time too, it's hard to get back up sometimes. Like I've been kind of had some really mean things said to me, from local business people here, businessmen, and, oh, that's cute. You created a hobby for a housewife, I think is my favorite quote.
No.
So there's times like that where you can either go hide and shrink back in and be like, oh, that is just what I've done. Or there's times when you can decide to take that, own it, run with it, and become so big that all they can do is that same man has now apologized to me and been like, you are amazing and incredible and I follow everything you do.
Please take my business. And you're like, no, too busy.
No, he's great. But it's times like that when if people don't believe in what you do, they don't care, and they really try to like almost shove you off your amazing platform that you've built, you kind of just have to like climb back up and build it bigger. Not in like a, aha, I told you sort of way, but as in like, I take that negative energy and I am just like, oh, that's so cool. You think that. Now let's watch me rise and I'll prove to you 100 times that I'm 100 times bigger than that thought you just had.
Oh yeah. One of my favorite mantras is challenge accepted. Like,
yes,
that is some transmutation energy right there. I will take this and let it be fuel for the fire under my ass.
Yes. It's hard too. It's hard when you transition into like a totally different lifestyle, totally different business. You lose a lot of friends, you lose a lot of like family members that you thought were there for you. And you kind of just, it gets a little lonely for a little while. And then you kind of just start to vibe back into your tribe, that you vibe with your tribe. But it's so true. Like all of a sudden people come back around and everything just starts like lighting up and you really understand what you're meant to do.
Yeah, that's key. I have found as well is that it is important to have a tribe, but it's important to have the right tribe. And in the beginning, as a soulpreneur and entrepreneur, there were so many naysayers around. And so I started going online but going into more of the traditional groups at first. And all I saw was more like fear-based energy, and that freaked me out even worse. So I had to do like a detox and try again. And I think it's important to allow yourself to do that. Like, you don't have to stay stuck just because this is the quote unquote right way to network. Like, fuck that.
There's no right way to network. Yeah.
Right.
It's just like those business coaches that say you have to do their proven system in order to be successful. It's like, you have to give me $10,000 for me to stick you in this proven system and then you'll be successful. And sorry, you don't care about your success because you won't do it. But It's like, I just call total bullshit on them. And I've made it like a huge mission lately to call total bullshit on that kind of stuff. There's no right way to do anything. As long as you are doing the best that you can do and you're showing up every single day for yourself and for your business and for your life, whatever it is you do, as long as you're showing up every single day, then that's the right way to do it.
So tell our listeners now what you help entrepreneurs like me with. My question is kind of like, help people understand why you exist and what the importance of it is, like their value, so that they can do the same thing, because it is so vital to have a tribe like yours.
Okay, so I own two businesses. I own Hype Social Strategies, and then I co-own Badassery Magazine. But Hype Social Strategies, I really focus on basically, anything social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I manage about 10 different accounts on any given basis. We run about 10 accounts that we're doing. We're creating all the content for them. We're posting for them. We're making sure they have that presence on social media so that they can go out and run their businesses. And most of the businesses that I manage, they are a little more traditional, like, your chiropractor, that type of thing. But what else I do in Hype Social Strategies that I love is I will work with people one-on-one and I will teach them kind of how to do it themselves. And something new that I've just stepped into, and I didn't mean to step into it, I guess the universe pulled me into it, for lack of a better terms, is I've had a lot of people reach out to me and be like, every day you have so much energy, you have so much passion, and you're just fired up and you're always producing, you always have ideas. And so it's kind of transitioned into this thing where it's like, well, I'll work with you one-on-one for an extended period of time. I'll take a mentor. I started teaching workshops. I started doing a lot of different things around just your mindset and your business and just how to be a great business owner and kind of owning your own power even and being like, I'm done on the sidelines. I'm ready to step into the game because I'm a game player. I don't sit on the sidelines. Even, in high school, I was like, why am I over here on the sidelines? I want to be in the game. I don't want to watch. So I really help people who are ready to get in, play the game. I help them. I'm like, let's do this. If you watch me on video, sometimes I'll hold my arms out and I'll be like, come on, guys, let's do this. We're going. We're moving. Come with me. We're moving.
I love it.
Yeah. I'm like, let's go together. So I do that. And then Badassery Magazine is so cool. So Badassery was created, and I know I'm a little biased. I'm like, it's the most amazing thing ever, but I really feel like it is. It was literally created just from an idea I had while I was getting ready in my bathroom. I put it in a memo in my phone, and then I sent it to my now business partner, Kathy Rasmussen. I was like, I just had this idea. Will you just look at it? And I thought she was going to be like, you're fucking crazy. What's wrong with you? She's like, why would you want to do that? But she was like, this is so cool. Let's do it. And I think from conception of the idea to actually execution was just 30 days.
Wow.
Yeah. So we took the idea for Badassery. It's a magazine, it's a digital magazine, but a lot of the ideas stemmed from, I was so sick of reading about blogs and how you needed to get a guest post on a blog, and then you need to share that blog, and then you need to blog every day, and then you need to blog, and This is where you share your blog. And I was like, blog, blah. I'd gotten really burned out on the blog. And I was like, there has to be a better way for us all to come together and share what we do and our passions and all the cool shit that we create. So that's kind of where a lot of it stemmed from, is I was like, it'd be so cool to build this community because I wanted it to be more than just a digital magazine. I wanted it to be a place for people to come. That wasn't us telling them that you have to do this, you have to do that, but it was literally, it's like a platform for other business owners. And most of them, are still kind of up and coming, just trying to get their name out there, or they're new to the scene and whatever business it is they do. We take everything. We have a cocktail recipe in this month that just came out. It's a boozy unicorn.
I saw it. I love it.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Yes.
Misha Hedy created it and took the photos. I was like, wow, this is stunning. So but giving people a place where they can submit an article. And then I also wanted to make sure it was always about them. So they get a big bio section. We link everything back to the person. So you're not just giving us content, you're giving yourself a place to speak out and be like, here I am. I'm an expert. I know my shit. I want to connect with you. So, and then all month long too, within our Facebook groups and, our various social media platforms, we talk about the people that are in the magazine. So we try to really highlight you, build you up and give you a place to come. We recently, this issue for our February 2017 issue, we have 2 men that contributed. And we were so excited. I was like, I got two men. But the one I've seen on Facebook, he's ecstatic because he's an up and coming writer and he's just trying to get a place to put his voice. And this is the first time. Yes. Right? Yes, Mackenzie. This is the first place that he's been published. And I didn't even know that, so just reading his excitement online, that's what this is all about. I'm like, yes, that is so cool. It's really giving people a drive and excitement and be like, I want people to be excited about what they do. So that's what
So even if you are scared, yes, it does. Even if you are scared, there is a community for you, and it's a perfect place to start growing, start like taking baby steps into your authenticity and getting your voice out there. And I love that people have a million different ways to work with you, really.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I know the other day someone's like, so how can we contribute? And I was like, well, you can place an article, you can purchase a sponsor spot, you can be on the podcast, you can submit to our blog, you can show up in our Facebook group live. I mean, where do you want me to push you? Let's go.
That's my favorite thing about Miss Samantha Parker. She will push you towards your own authenticity. And that's a beautiful gift. It really is. Any final thoughts for our listeners who are like, I want to be where Samantha is and I don't know how to get started? What would you say?
Just start.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it. Just go. Just go. Come on. I'll go with you. Just go. Yeah.
My business partner, Kathy, has this thing she calls the MVP. I like to use it in meetings now. And people are like, whoa, you're so smart. But it's the minimal viable product. And that's so you don't have to have the whole package set up. You don't have to have, a $10,000 website and all these email funnels, and you don't have to have everything set up. You just start. Is that starting with just a PayPal link? Is that starting with just a landing page with information, of what you do? You just start somewhere. It's stop looking at the big picture and work backwards. Just fucking start.
That's also going on a Canva later, folks. Just fucking start.
I'll put it on a coffee mug.
Yes, to go alongside her badassery coffee mug, folks. You're going to have to find you one.
Well, we have shirts and pillows and prints and all sorts of fun badassery stuff.
You are definitely all over the place. I love it. Thank you, Samantha, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Undressing the Spirit podcast. I pray you found some inspiration and titillation today. As always, I am forever grateful for 5-star reviews, comments, and subscriptions on iTunes and anywhere else you may be listening to this broadcast. Please note the information provided is not meant to convey professional, psychological, or medical advice. If you could use such services, I highly recommend seeking them out from someone you trust. To get in touch with me personally, please check out ariatherapy.com or talesfromatrapezoid.com. Until next time, everyone.